be
live
now.
Live now.
All right. Well, hey guys, this is Bradley Benner with Semantic Mastery, and I'm waiting for the Zoom to flip the screen so I can close the video. So stand by. Well, hey guys, this is Bradley Benner with Semantic Mastery, and I'm waiting. All right. It's weird how that thing does that. All right. Anyways, hi guys. We've got Marco on and Peter Drew, obviously. Thank you, Peter, for having us, bringing us on today.
You're welcome, mate. This is going to be awesome.
And today, guys, we're going to be talking about how to get unlimited leads from Google without traditional SEO. And essentially, this is our local GMB Pro product we're going to be talking about. And I was just mentioning to Peter, obviously, that I got Marco with me, who is, my sidekick and partner. Marco, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. You know how it is here. It's always good.
Yep. And guys, we're going to keep this kind of short and sweet. We don't, I don't know how many of you have seen webinars with us in the past, but we're more about education than we are about selling. So, we're just going to talk about what the product is, what the training is, the type of results that you can get. And that's about it. We'll give you an offer at the end. It's a good offer, one that we only have reserved for our mastermind members in the past. But because Peter Drew is a good friend of ours and has been for many years, we decided to open up that same type of a discount for you guys today. This is not a public webinar. It is just specifically for Peter's group or Peter's audience. So, and we're going to throw in some bonuses too. And I think this will complement a lot of the tools that Peter has developed over the last year or so, year and a half for GMB stuff. Once you have the concepts and the principles down, you can make the softwares react or work so much smarter for you. In other words, I think it's a really good complement to what Peter's got because he's automated a lot of things, but I still think there are some gaps that can be filled in that can only be done manually and if you understand how to stack certain concepts. And I think that's really what we're going to be talking about today and how to get the most results out of each individual GMB as opposed to just cranking out new GMBs all the time, which is still an effective method, but it's getting harder as Google cracks down on it. I'd like to, kind of talk about how you can get better results with each individual GMB as well and produce even more leads. So with that, Marco, should I just jump right into the presentation or what?
Yeah, I think also just as an announcement, I think Peter has a bonus for whoever stays until the end. So it's probably worth staying until the end of the webinar to see what Peter has in store for you guys.
And it's exclusive, brand new, never been released, and you guys are going to love it. And I'll tell you about it at the end of this webinar.
Oh, that's great.
There you go.
Very cool. I'm excited too. So
yeah, it's good, man.
So like I said, guys, we're going to try to keep this to just about an hour. If you're on the webinar watch page, it's got a discuss app for you to comment. Sometimes it's a little bit funky, so post your comments. I'll refresh it occasionally to see if any new comments have popped up. Any questions and things like that, we'll address them towards the end. And obviously, Marco, if you see anything pop up, or if any of us see anything that pop up that we need to address during the webinar, let's just jump in and answer those as well, okay? All right, I'm going to grab the screen. We're going to do it. You guys should be seeing my full screen. Can you confirm?
Confirm.
Yes.
Okay. So local GMB Pro, generate leads entirely within Google without traditional SEO. Obviously, there is an SEO component to it, but not the SEO that we're typically, used to. Either we can include SEO methods and get even better results. But what's great about Google My Business is that you can get results just by using the Google tools themselves. And Google has done that for a very specific reason, and we're going to talk about that as well. So why Google My Business? How local GMB Pro produces results. Then we're going to show you results, some case study, basically some information. And the original case study that I had built out, which produced phenomenal results even early on. And then we're going to show you some results of one of Marco's more established projects or campaigns that he's been running for a business. So you can see what type of results you can build up to once you've established the local GMB Pro process. All right.
Yeah. Before you get into the nitty gritty or the gritty nitty, let me just tell people that there's a method to the madness, And if you skip, if you come in and you're gonna cut corners, and you're gonna say, no, I'm not gonna do that part, I'm gonna do this part, and you try to pick and choose how you do it before actually attempting the entire thing and understanding the methodology, then you cannot expect results. I mean, period. With anything, whatever it is that you try, if you cut corners, you're not likely to get results. So please keep that in mind when we're going through this, and as you're going through the training, that it's there for a reason. It's taught for a reason. So sorry for interrupting, but I just wanted to make that clear.
No, and I completely agree. It's easy to want to take shortcuts because you may think that, well, if I cut a little corner here and cut a little, it's not going to make that big of a difference, but it does, guys. It really does. Follow the process and it'll work. And it's a paint by numbers type system, and that's really the key. Like if you were to buy into a franchise like a McDonald's or something, you don't cut corners on how to build the burgers, right? It's a very step-by-step process, and there's a reason for that. It's a model that works, right? And so that's what basically we're talking about here. Too often we get people that, come to us with support questions and stuff saying that something's not working for them. And if we actually schedule some direct one-on-one time with them, which is rare, but when we do, we usually find that they've taken shortcuts, and that's where the breakdown occurs. So keep in mind what Marco said. So why GMB or Google My Business? Well, Google loves itself. Think about YouTube, G Sites. Obviously, all the stuff that Peter has been producing, all his softwares have been specifically to address this very fact, right? Google's narcissistic. It loves its own properties. It wants to promote its own properties above others. And think about why, and that's my next bullet point. Google wants to keep its users in the Google ecosystem. I'm not much of a Facebook marketer. I'm not even much of a Facebook user. I really don't like Facebook that much, honestly. I know that a lot of people get a lot of really good results marketing on Facebook. That's great. I'm just not a big fan of Facebook. But one thing I do know about Facebook marketing, and many of you probably know this as well, is that if you run a business page, right, and you've got, 1,000 followers, and you're doing posts to your followers, you're posting to your page, you'll get somewhere between, anywhere between 5 to 20% engagement or reach. In other words, exposure to the people, followers of your page. If you're keeping your posts to just image-based or video-based posts with no external links. The moment that you put an external link in one of those posts, your exposure gets cut down to like 1 to 3%, if you're lucky. And the reason why is because, and think about why, right? Facebook has always been smart about, they don't want to take people off of Facebook. So the moment you put an external link in a Facebook post, it reduces its exposure or reach, because Facebook knows that people, if they click on that link, it's going to take them off of Facebook, and that they won't be able to serve more ads to them. Well, think about what Google always has been. Google has always been an index of other external websites. In other words, when you would go to a Google search, it would bring up an index of external URLs, so that literally you would use Google, as a go-between between an outside source, an outside party. Like, you would just go do a search, and then you would find the results, and you would click it, and it would take you off of Google. And so Google's, I think, started this Google My Business, this tool set that it's provided for us as a way to keep Google searchers or users in the Google ecosystem, especially when they're searching with local intent, because now so much of the searcher's query, what they're seeking, the information they're seeking, can now be completely delivered within the Google ecosystem, so that people don't have to leave, or the user doesn't have to leave Google, which means Google can continue to track them, build more of an advertising profile, like essentially an avatar and serve more ads to them that they're likely to engage with, which means more revenue for Google. So just think about that for a minute. That's exactly why Google My Business, at least that's my assumption. That's what I've been able, I think, is a very logical reason why Google My Business has developed all of these tools. And
Absolutely.
Go ahead, please.
And for anyone who's wondering whether this is true, what we're giving you facts. It's not theory. It's not what we guess. It's something that we've proven time and again. We went so far as to, in one webinar, right, during RYS Academy, and then the relaunch during RYS Academy Reloaded, where we actually got Google to accept an empty, listen to me, an empty Google Doc in AdWords, no terms of service, no privacy policy, no nothing. And it was almost immediate. And we showed it live. That's how much Google trusts itself. That's how much Google wants you to stay in its ecosystem and use its resources and to stay within there. And that's why it's so powerful and it's so successful to use this to rank in Google. I mean, it's exactly what we do. We use the power of Google to rank in Google or to get results in Google.
Yeah. Yeah. And also I put end search in quotes here because I remember watching, it was like a TED talk. It was a speech by, I think, Larry Page or the other founder of Google. It was one of those two, one of the original two founders. And this was way back in like, I don't know, I saw the speech in about 2010. And I don't know exactly when he gave it, but he talked about it was his vision for where Google search was going. And they said that their vision was for Google to end search. In other words, they saw the vision of Google was that when somebody would go to them and search for whatever it is that they wanted, that Google would be able to serve that result to them, that answer, provide that to them right within Google. And this was, like I said, I think it was in 2010 when I saw it. So you were talking 9 years ago. And now, especially with, and as we're going to see, in one of the upcoming slides, most of, as because of the mobile first index, which has kind of occurred as in July of 2018 is really when that was implemented by Google. It's because 2/3 of all searches originate from a mobile device now. And Google is trying to provide personalized search results, which is why rank trackers aren't very accurate anymore. Because even at rank trackers that can provide rank tracking and simulate searching from a specific location, there's no way that a rank tracker can have an actual profile built for it. In other words, like for example, when think about people using mobile devices that are signed into a Google account, Google's tracking everything that they search for, that they do on their phone, that the places that they're going and visiting, all of that data is being accrued by Google. So Google has a personalized profile for that individual, for that Google profile, that account holder. And so Google can start to serve more and more ads in relevant results that it thinks is relevant for that specific user, even when it comes to local searches, right? Google can influence the results that an individual user, and in other words, if you have two people standing side by side and they search for the same type of local search query, there's a chance that they're both going to see different results, probably only slightly different, but they're still going to likely see different results, not the exact same results. And it's because it's more of a personalized search result experience. And that's because Google is striving to end search. And that's truly, their vision is coming true, right? Of course, now you hear in the United States that they're starting the antitrust investigation against Google because they think they've got too much power. The federal government is anyways, which it's going to be interesting to see how that develops. But Margaret, you want to talk about the GMB endgame?
Actually, sorry,
go ahead.
Just on that point, and it's also evolving. Google Maps, the Google Maps app, and local search is evolving, which is bringing more people. Like we know the people are on mobile, and just in the last 6 months, the Google Maps app is improving dramatically, and its interaction, and it's got unique abilities working with GMB. So the more people that use Google Maps, the more exposure they get to highly optimized GMBs. The people who put the work into the GMBs are going to get the maximum benefit from it as more people go over to Google Maps with the extra features that are available there, and particularly the offers feature, which I really like.
Yeah, very much so. I totally agree.
All right. So it was 2011 when Google came out and said, we want things, not strings, right? So now we're at a coding level where you're trying to have a computer program determine what a thing is on the web. How do we deliver that information to a bot that only understands zeros and ones and sequences, right, of zeros and ones to fill in variables? Well, one of the ways that we found, and to me, and I've always said this, it's war. when I come after a niche, I don't just want a piece of it. I want to dominate it. It's no fun just being one of the guys in there. It's no fun being a bottom feeder. It's not fun to just, a few of the long tails and a few leads. No, I want a whole bunch. That's what makes me happy. That's what makes me go. One of the ways where we figure this out is that the thing that Google wants is your thing on the web. And the way that this works is GMB is the perfect environment for you to tell Google what your thing on the web is, because you have to create that Google My Business listing. Then you have to go and you have to verify it. Then you have to validate it some kind of way. I mean, we're going to show how it is that we do it. And then you have to solidify that entity and all of that information. When the bot comes in and it starts crawling and it starts pulling information from everywhere on the web about your thing, then it's going to get whatever it is that you're feeding it. Here's the really interesting part of this. Whenever you set out a computer program to go and learn, correct? It means that we can feed it the variables that we want and teach it what we want. It's not just what Google has coded it to do. It's what we can actually force into it so that it sees our thing as the authoritative and trusted thing in this niche, in wherever it is that you're working, whatever your local thing is. And the way that we figured this out, the way that we've tested and done this over and over again is this method of taking it, creating that entity, making it as complete as possible for Google to go and see. Then, of course, you verify it, which means now you're listed in Google. Google's getting tougher and tougher with this, right? We just saw a massive killing of spam listings. But the great thing about this, for those of you who have clients with legitimate GMBs or with GMBs that are still out there and they're still verified and they're still working, is that the methods still work. I mean, you have to be really careful now, but this is valid. What this does is it takes you to the end game. In chess, where you want to take that king and you don't want to give it any other option. You don't want to give the opponent any other option except to tip that king over and to acknowledge, yeah, it's checkmate. I can't do anything. And it sometimes happens right when you're in the opening, right? Your opening can be so strong that your opponent says, yeah, I see that in 20 moves, I'm done, I'm toast. And so you can get that good by just doing some very simple things that we figured out. And again, it's to take you to that end game. It's so that you can go out and you can be at war with your competition and you win. It's just a win. There's no other thing that can happen but a win.
So how local GMB produces results is also because of like we talked about, the mobile devices. The mobile first indexing took effect in July 2018. About 2/3 of all search traffic originates from mobile. And it's interesting. I almost put this link in here today in this presentation as an update, but I was just talking about the federal government, United States government is launched a antitrust investigation into Google for having too much power as far as online, being able to influence information online. And I was just listening to an interview with whoever the head of that bureaucracy is that's launching that investigation. And she was talking about how 93% of all searches originate from Google, which is nuts, right? I mean, that's absolutely insane. For the longest time, it was about 70%. With about 30% being split between Yahoo, Bing, and believe it or not, AOL. But now it's around 90 to 93%. And so today I was trying to back that comment up, and I just did some searches. And you guys can go do this in another tab if you'd like, but just go do a search and say search statistics 2019, and you'll see that there are several other sources out there that say it's around 90 to 93% of searches originate from Google. That said, about 2/3 of all of those originate on mobile devices now, and with local intent especially. So the Google My Business or the local GMB Pro and the GMB products, the tools that Google My Business has given us really are developed primarily for the mobile user, as Peter was just talking about a moment ago. And that's why it's so powerful when you go through the training and you understand how to use, like, just some of the simple things that you can do consistently. You can even do from the, and we encourage you to do from the GMB mobile app, because it allows you to, it's so versatile, and it adds so much power to the GMB, more so than just doing things from a desktop or a laptop computer. And that's for a very specific reason. And that's, again, because I believe that the tools have been developed primarily to address mobile users more so than laptop or desktop users. Don't get me wrong, you can still get benefits either way. But I'm saying that in part, for example, if you look at a GMB post, if you look at a GMB post on a desktop computer, it kind of overlays on top of the search results for the brand search, right? So essentially, when you click through to a GMB post on a laptop or desktop, you'll see the brand search in the background, and it'll be an overlay. And then, previous posts will be underneath that. You can kind of scroll down and see previous posts. When you look at the same post on a mobile device, it takes over the whole entire screen. Like, it takes over the entire screen. It blacks everything out on essentially underneath. You can't see anything other than the post. So again, those are just an example of how. Another thing is, for example, would be the services items. If you look at services in the GMB dashboard, where you can add different services and prices and in descriptions of what they are, you don't really see those on the desktop computers, but on the laptop, or excuse me, on mobile devices, when you're looking at a knowledge panel or a GMB profile, for example, you can scroll left or right where the, I guess, navigation headers would be. Really, you can scroll left or right and you'll see services, and you click on that, and again, it's kind of like a menu of available services. So these are all things that are very, very powerful for mobile devices. And because of mobile search and GPS, search results are now personalized based on location, search and browsing history, and what we call in-market behavior, which is really cool because you can also use some Google ads as a way to buy traffic to help jumpstart your GMBs, as well as, in other words, you can literally buy traffic from Google from very specific audiences and geolocated audiences very inexpensively if you do it through YouTube or the display network, to actually kind of help jumpstart any of the efforts that you put into a GMB, to optimizing a GMV. Because as Marco will talk about in just a moment, we know for a fact that there are three main things. It's really four, but the third one kind of covers two that influence results. The primary ranking factors now are what Marco calls ART, A-R-T, activity, relevance, trust, and authority. And activity and relevance, trust, and authority. Think about that. No longer is it just about links and just about, optimizing profile, SEO optimization and stuff like that. It's about activity, right? And relevant, right? Activity, relevance, trust, and authority. So activity and relevancy. And you can build relevancy. You can buy activity to jumpstart until you start getting organic activity. And all of this, all within the Google ecosystem, which is incredibly powerful. So when I say in-market behavior, just to be clear, as I said, when Google has a profile, builds a profile on a Google user, especially through mobile devices, it knows where they go, where they eat, what kind of searches they look at, what kind of content they engage with, it knows their schedule if they're using Google Account. It knows everything about them. So it knows if they're in the market for a new roof, for example, because it knows that they've probably been doing searches for how to fix a leaky roof, or what happens when a roof is leaking, or what's the cost of repairing a roof, those types of things. So now if you have a roof repair business that you're promoting, or you're doing it for a client or for lead generation or whatever the case may be, and you are specifically addressing that, and you're in your physical location is in close proximity to that person, and you're using all of the Google tools, right, that Google provides, and you can keep that searcher in the Google ecosystem, your GMB is more likely to be served to that user than perhaps somebody that's just doing traditional SEO and not using all of the tools available inside of Google My Business, if that makes sense. So, Marco, do you want to talk a little bit about ART and GMB?
Yeah, interestingly enough, we've been able to boil down over 200 ranking factors to something that's very simple. Links are still there. Links are still very powerful. They're part of what we do. In fact, they're an integral part of what we do, because everything that Google measures can only be done through hyperlinks. That's the basis of their entire algorithm. And we've broken it down. I've been at this for years, guys, looking at this and trying to boil it down. And what we've come up with is that if you have activity in whatever it is that you're doing, if it's relevant activity. Now, the interesting thing that's happening now is that Google is looking both ways. Google is not only looking at the link source, it's looking at the link destination, and then everything that's attached to the link destination and the link source, to see an overall picture of just how much trust and authority it should be given, so that then you can start building page rank, and the final piece of the puzzle, which is ranking score. That's what you're after. So how do you do this? Well, you have to show Google activity that's relevant and from trusted authoritative sources. It's built into the algorithm. Read it. Read the PageRank algorithm. Read the ranking score. The patents, the ranking score patents, and there's two, because there was an update either last year or the year before, and this is all built in. And so what happens is when you kickstart it, like Bradley said, through some YouTube ads or however it is that you're going to get traffic into your thing on the web, into your GMB, is that you're activating Google. Now, Google will tell you we don't pay attention to that. Well, yeah, traffic is traffic is not a ranking signal. John Mueller says, no, it's not BS. It's bullshit. They're lying to you. They're trying to pull the wool over your eyes. They're trying to get you looking another way. Because if you take the literal meaning, the traffic itself isn't a ranking signal, but everything that person does on your website. Think about it. If you have analytics, Google is getting everything that person is doing on the website, where they came in, how long they stayed, what they did, and where they exited. Why would they keep analytics on all of that? Why would they give you metrics on all of that if it were not important? And why is it built into an entire patent, not only a set of patents that are baked into the algorithm? Think about this. Same thing with social, right? We don't take a look at social activity. It's not a ranking signal. Google doesn't care. Bullshit. Again, traffic. They're going to look at where they came from, where they landed, everything that's attached to where they came from, and everything that's attached to where they landed, and they're going to gauge everything that happens from that point until that final goal. And you have to get those completions. Those completions are essential to everything that you're doing, which in GMB it will be calls, it will be requests for directions and visits to the website. And even if you have the messaging set up, yeah, they can message. Mm-hmm. So everything, it's all tied together. And trust me, Google is looking at everything. We've broken it down. We've proven it time and again. We're not giving you theory. I'm not going to feed you bullshit. I'm not that kind of person. I'm going to give you facts. I'm going to give you shit that I've been working on for years and years and years. And I can prove. And I can, period, regardless what Google says.
So GMB helps you to show your clients results month after month. And in fact, the results your client will get are usually more than what Insights shows. And the reason I say that is because, guys, you understand Insights, GMB Insights is like analytics for the maps listing and the Google My Business profile, essentially. But all it's showing is activity that has occurred directly on the maps listing or the knowledge panel, for example. It doesn't show any activity that has occurred direct on the website. If you're using a money site, self-hosted website, it doesn't show people that pull a search up and then maybe on a desktop, for example, and then call from their cell phone, right? Where they didn't do the search from their cell phone. It doesn't show that type of data in Insights, because all Insights shows is the actual engagements that happened specifically with the knowledge panel, the Google My Business profile, or maps, or all three of those. So there are typically results that are even over and above what you can show. Now, if you're strictly using GMB stuff, for example, using the .business.site, the GMB website as opposed to self-hosted site and all of that, it's going to be more closely, the insights are going to be more closely to bottom line results. But even then, there are still times where people can engage with the brand beyond specifically through that actual search when they were exposed to it, if that makes sense. So keep that in mind. Insights is a really good indication. I use it in all of my client reporting, but just so you're aware, for all of my client reporting, I use a blend of 3 primary sources. Rank tracking is now a secondary report that I provide to my clients, with the understanding all my clients have been conditioned to understand that rank tracking is really just an indication of overall search health, but it's no longer accurate because of what I just talked about before. Search rank trackers can simulate location-based searches, but they're not going to be able to provide the same type of results that actual real users with real profiles will see. So the 3 primary results that I share with my clients are GMB Insights, Google Analytics, and Search Console, especially if they have a self-hosted website. So those three things combined are the 3 things that I show results with, because as Marco was talking about, we can show traffic, the sources, the duration with analytics, how long they dwelled on the site, how many pages they engage with, what they call the behavioral path within the site. You can look at conversion actions. Search Console shows a number of impressions, a number of click-throughs, just so many different data points now that we use to show results, where rank tracking is now secondary. It's honestly, I could stop giving my clients rank tracking reports and it wouldn't matter, because they're seeing through actual real data the important data. And rank tracking, I don't think, is all that important anymore. So local GMB also produces results because Google awards early adopters by exposing their brand in search more often to mobile users. We were just talking about that. And that's one of the things that I see, we're well past a year into Google My Business, the GMB tools being launched, as well as mobile first indexing. And still the vast majority of businesses are not utilizing even 25% of the tools that are available in Google My Business. And because of that, that gives people like us that know, people like you on this webinar right now that are learning this, now that you know, by using the Google My Business tools that are available, Google's going to give your projects, your campaigns, more exposure, because you're going to help to keep people in the Google ecosystem. And a lot of businesses don't understand that, or they just don't know how to do it, or they don't have the desire to do it, or whatever the case is, but that gives us a competitive edge. All right. So components that force exposure is profile completion. We need to just briefly chat about that because of some of the recent efforts by Google to combat spam listings. So those are GMB verified listings that aren't really tied to an actual physical location or to a location where an actual business resides. And there has been a lot of that, that I'm not going to lie, we've done a lot of that too. But Google's been really trying hard over the last couple of months to crack down on that. And so because of that, Google can be a tad bit suspension happy if you're going into existing verified profiles and making significant changes. So I just want to kind of disclaim all of this with, if you're starting out with a new GMB, the primary way to do it now is to do all of your on-page optimization when you request the verification process, right? So when you initiate the verification process, which typically is going to send a postcard to the physical location that can be retrieved, and then you've got the PIN number, and that's how you verify. If you're going to start with a new business, do all of your on-page stuff, complete the profile. I think you can complete it to about 80% before you get the verification card. Once you verify it, really try to limit your amount of on-page optimization. You can do as the GMB posts, photos, things like that, which is very, very important. That's a lot of what we teach, is how to get results using posts and photos. But I would recommend, if you've got existing businesses that have already been published and verified, you don't do many or a lot of significant changes to the actual profile, at least not right now, because Google is a bit suspension happy. All right, Marco, do you want to comment on that before I move on to the next point?
Yeah, I just want people to be sure what it is that's happening. And again, facts. What Google is doing is that you're algorithmically accruing points. every time you edit after verification. So the more that you edit, and the more important the edits, for example, any part of your NAP, any the company name, and anything that has to do with that, even hours, you're going to accrue points, and then it becomes an algorithmic suspension. It just gets suspended, and that's done so that you have to go and verify. Now they want to get you on camera, they want to see your logo, they want to see a whole bunch of things. So in order to avoid all that, in order to be safe or safer, we're recommending that you go in and you fill out your profile as completely as possible, and then never again go back and make changes unless you absolutely have to. And if for some reason it does get suspended, especially if you're working with clients, it's the owner that has to go and request for the suspension to be lifted. You as manager will not be able to go and get that suspension lifted. I'm seeing it over and over and over again. Bradley just had to go through it. The owner is the one who has to go in and re-verify. So in order to avoid all that, we're saying go in, take care of your on-page SEO, fill it out as much as possible, then never again go back in there and touch anything unless you absolutely have to, with the understanding that once you do, you're taking a chance on getting suspended, because the algorithm is so shaky, or it's like on a trigger wire, right? Where sometimes just doing a minor change will cause a suspension. So I just want that warning to be out there. I want people to be safe and to do things the right way.
Yeah, and so I mean, again, I just wanted to kind of disclaim that, guys, because from when we originally launched this to now, that's the biggest change, is that the on page. So messing with any part of the profile after it's been verified, you have to understand that Google is going, it's an algorithmic suspension. It'll just occur. And then you have to ask for a reinstatement, a reinstatement request. You have to submit that. And it's about a 3-week delay before they will even respond to that. And again, and I know I did it to a client it's a valid business. They've been in business for over 7 years. I've been managing their GMB. We've never done anything spammy. And all I did was go in and delete a photo, and I made a change to the GMB website, and it suspended it automatically. And I, as the manager, submitted the reinstatement request, and it took 3 weeks for Google to get back to me. And when they did, they said that they denied it. And so I called my client. My client understood that it wasn't anything that I did. He was still a little bit unnerved, obviously, but I called my client and said, look, the only thing I can do is to get another physical location verified in the same zip code area, and then we can do a citation cleanup, which would have been a nightmare because, again, for 7 years, we've been accruing citations to the specific address, the actual address, and we would have had to go start cleaning, changing all of those. Again, my thought process was that by having it in the same zip code, it would be less of an NAP mess than it would have been if we would have changed zip codes altogether. Long story short, I said, the only thing we could do prior to me actually doing that would be if I can show you how to do it, would submit as the business owner the reinstatement request and see if they respond to that differently. And he did. He agreed. I provided him some training, just a video that I recorded showing him the steps to do it. He did it, and it took about maybe 10 days for Google to get back, and they reinstated it. Thank God. But again, that's my point is I just want to let you guys know, that's, you got to be very careful. If it's a new business, a new listing, before you get it verified, you can do all the on-page stuff you need to. If it's an existing business, then just don't mess with that, or at least not for now. What you can do is all the off-page stuff, including I consider the GMB posts and photos and things like that also part of really the off-page optimization, and you can still do all of that. Okay. So components that force the exposure is the profile completion. If you can do all that, increased activity, GMB posts, geotagged photos, reviews and responding to reviews, etc. All of those things that are activity-based are very, very, very important and very powerful. And as Peter was talking about earlier, like we said, the mobile app, the GMB mobile app can produce significant results if you're using it, or if you're doing client work, if you train and teach your clients how people that, in the business can use the GMB My Business app to upload photos to the GMB profile that are geotagged around the locations that they serve, And it's very, very powerful. And again, we talk about all this stuff in the training. Utilization of all the available GMB tools like the GMB website, the scheduling app, messaging, products and services, etc. Using all of those tools, guys, again, enabling as many of those features as possible and implementing them for the business is really going to help, because once again, you're providing more ways to communicate all within the Google ecosystem, which keeps people in Google, which is what Google wants. All right. So we're going to move on. We got about 20 minutes left. I'd like to try to wrap this up. We've got just some results we're going to kind of roll through here. I'm going to talk about early results. This is actually in the training. If you join us, you'll see that I had actually got a new client when we were recording the training for this. And it was a taxi service in Charlottesville, Virginia. And I gave him, I basically made an agreement with him that I would only charge him about half of what my normal fees were, if he would allow me to use his business as a case study or, in the training, because I told him it was going to be basically made public within the training program. And he agreed. Well, long story short, he really never paid me much. He didn't even pay me the half fee that I was charging him. But I kept his business afloat for several months because of this. He's no longer a client of mine. I had to fire him as a client because he wasn't paying me. But the point is these are the results that I was able to get throughout the 3 or 4 months that I was doing this for him. It was incredibly quick that we saw results. And then I'm going to show you some results that Marco is going to explain a little bit better that are from more of an established business that he's, because of the local GMB Pro methods that he's implemented and maintained for this business, and what types of results you can see from that. Okay. So this was, again, a taxi service. We started fresh. It was a brand new listing. In fact, the GMB actually had to be moved from one location to another, and Google required a manual verification. So I had to have the client actually send in like photographs or, screen, like basically from a mobile phone, photographs of, bills with that had the new physical location with the company name on it, like a utility bill or a cable bill or something like that. So it was really interesting because I had to help facilitate all of that. But we were starting out with a new listing basically that had to be moved first. And then I started fresh. It was, all of it had to be optimized. There was originally going to be a WordPress site with it, but because I wanted to keep everything in the Google ecosystem, all I did was redirect the custom domain to the Google business site, which is the GMB website. And so we really did truly keep everything just in the GMB ecosystem, which is what we wanted. So there was no traditional website. There was no traditional SEO done at all. This was all strictly GMB Pro methods. And then there was basically 4 posts per week. We recommend, it really is going to depend on the industry, but when we talk about GMB posting being so powerful, it really is, especially when you learn how to silo posts together, kind of create content silos just like you would on a website. It's very, very powerful. But more posts equals better results, essentially. So just keep that in mind. But we did this with 4 posts per week. And you can see that very quickly we were able to get up to 984 total views, both between organic and map search, in a matter of, this was, I think, 6 weeks in to the project when this screenshot was taken. And you can see the total number of actions. This was on basically the same insights report, that it had 24 visits to the website and 43 phone calls. There was a spike that week. I believe that was a weekend. And I'm not sure exactly what caused that spike, but there was maybe there was an event in Charlottesville or whatever, and there was a lot more searches. But you can see the type of results here, that this was a service area business, as a cab service. So you don't see requests for directions. But I've got a few clients, like I've got a client that owns preschools, has 3 different locations. And so driving directions or request for directions is a metric that we track pretty closely. And it's pretty interesting to see that. Now, we didn't have chat enabled for this particular business, but if you have the messaging function or feature enabled, then you're also going to notice, for example, I've got a roofing client that does have it enabled, and he gets quite a lot of chat messages or text messages asking for, basically an estimate request. So that's pretty interesting to see that kind of data. These are some results from the GMB Insights reports that were taken from the mobile app. We were just talking about that, the GMB app, which is, it's not our app, guys. It's Google My Business app. It's free to download, very, very powerful. And it allows you to literally run your GMB business through the mobile app, which is crazy. And it's very powerful. It actually adds more power if you're doing things through the mobile app than if you do everything through desktop. At least I've been able to see better results by having, even like my clients, for example, again, I just mentioning a pest control company. That was the company that had their GMB suspended from just a little change that I did. They have technicians that go out, and they're an outdoor pest control company. They spray for like mosquitoes and ticks and stuff like that. And their technicians have all been trained to use the GMB app when they go out to a customer's location to spray a yard for mosquitoes and ticks. And they just take a quick video or a couple of snapshots and they'll upload them. And what happens is that starts to train the Google My Business profile over time, because those are geotagged images. GPS is enabled on all those phones. It starts to train that GMB to understand what the service area is, so that it's actually expanding the footprint of one GMB. Whereas we used to go out and get, for if they covered 8 different towns, that we'd try to get 8 GMBs, right? Now we're getting more and more exposure in the surrounding towns, even though proximity is a big issue. When you can overcome that proximity issue if you train the bot, like Marco says, over time. And that's one of the ways that you can do it, is using the GMB app. That said, this is GMB Insights, and you can see the kind of results where look at these green numbers, the positive numbers. And this was going in for, and this was Rob, he's one of the co-creators of it. He was taking these screenshots from his, and you can see the types of results that you get from just doing this consistently and regularly, guys. And that's key, regularly, right? So you got to, everything that we teach in this method requires consistent action. Lastly, this is more of well, there's another screenshot from the mobile, but this is like what it looks like in desktop, to take a look at insights in Google Analytics, and you can see the types of results like that you can get from just, again, consistent action and implementing these methods. The goal is, especially with a newer business or a business that's existing, but you just start implementing these, is month after month, you should be able to go into insights and show increasing numbers, increasing results, right? If you have a self-hosted website, then absolutely connect analytics and also Search Console, and you can show, again, tracking through those two tools, how you're increasing exposure month over month. Okay, very powerful. Marco, this is yours to talk about your established process.
Yeah, I mean, on this one, it's just activity. This is activity based, and this is during the last month. It's from what is it, August 18th to September 8th. So it's not even a full, well, yeah, it is a full month.
28 days.
But anyway, yeah, you can see the total actions, right? 2,000. This is within the GMB. And this is, as Bradley said, inaccurate, because it's a whole more. So you can see that visits to the website were what, 1.7K, 1.76. Those are people who went actually to the website from here, or from the GMB, from the launch panel, wherever it is that was displayed. The people went to the website. 129 people requested directions. 143 people called, and then 3 people actually used the messaging app. And this is in a month. Now, I have to say that this is, I have statistics for this over 1 year, because that's how long this client has been with me. I have another one, the one that started it all, my New York City attorney. I mean, she's still there, and she's getting a few hundred calls a month, guys. She does really well. And I mean, she was the first one, and it just becomes so powerful and such a self-feeding monster that you just you continue getting better and better and better results. But you have to continue the activity, because if you slow it down or if you stop, you'll see these statistics kind of just die off or a steep decline.
Yeah, and here's the thing about that, though. I mean, it's good and bad, right? It's good in that it's bad because if you're doing this for like lead gen and stuff, you constantly got to keep your foot on the gas. But if you're doing this for clients, it's a really good reason to keep them on a monthly retainer. Like, it's in other words, you tell them the truth. You tell them, look, we need to start applying this force, and once applied, we need to keep it applied, right? We can't really take our foot off the gas. In other words, if you do, because I mean, I know from years of doing client work, a lot of times clients, once they start getting results, they forget what you've done for them to get them results. And a lot of times they want to start skimping and they want to say, yeah, well, you know, we're doing really well in Google My Business because, you know, we'd like to reduce our overall marketing costs. So we're going to, you can just remind them. And it's the honest to God's truth. If you stop doing these things, you're going to start seeing, it's going to taper off and rather quickly. And so again, it's very important that, you know, you can use that to your advantage and encourage clients to, you know, have you continue doing services for them. A lot of these services can be, a lot of it can be automated and or outsourced or done for you, right? I don't recommend any of you guys, other than learning the process, actually doing this yourselves, because you can automate it using tools that Peter's created, or you can outsource it with inexpensive labor. And we talk about that in the training on how you can outsource a lot of this stuff. We are big proponents of outsourcing, or you can find third-party providers that will do it for you that you know and trust. And, you know, again, that's something that there's always potential for us to be able to do stuff like that as well. My point is, it's not something that you guys can do. The best thing that you should be doing, the best thing to do is just sell it and manage it and make money from it, right? That's the best thing to do, in my opinion.
Well, that's the great thing about this, right? And just to continue on that thread, the great thing about this is okay. So I started looking at this. I started looking into Google My Business and what was happening. And then we conceptualized the training, but then we turned it over to VAs and we said, here, have at it. And we trained them on how to do it. Now, this is my client, but I don't do any of the work. I already did the work. I already thought it up. That's my part of the job. It then went into the training. Now VAs go through the training and they have processes that they follow, and it's on them. So I pay them.
Yep. And that's my theory too. You know, same thing as I learned how to do something well enough to be able to put it into a process, which would be written some process as well as a training video. And then I turn it over to my virtual assistants, very trusted virtual assistants. And I train, and they learn the process. And then I tell them, listen, you're going to be doing this over and over and over again. So if you find ways to be more efficient, you find steps that can be combined or eliminated, or you find tools or applications that can help you to be more efficient or to automate some of it, please, by all means, run it by me. And if I approve it, let's work it into the processes. And so really, like I said, all I'd have to do is learn how to do something well enough to get results, and then can put that into a crude process doc and training video, and then turn it over to virtual assistants. And then they pick it up from there, repeat the process enough to where they become very good at it and find ways to make it even better. And they actually end up improving the process. And so like Marco said, it's basically hands off. Once you learn it, you employ somebody to do it, have them do it. And then from that point on, you just basically manage it and make money from it. And it's just a beautiful process. So here's some search query report. This is the very top of Insights reports. And this is one of Marco's, the same one that we were just looking at in the previous slide. And you can see the number of queries that have actually caused an engagement to that particular GMB. And guys, one of the things you'll notice is near me keywords, especially I'm in the contracting niches mainly. And near me keywords generate about 40% or even higher of all the inbound traffic or engagement from GMB is the near me type keywords. And what's crazy is once you understand how that Google, like these Insights reports for the search queries, it's almost like Google gives you the keys to the kingdom. It tells you the keywords that are generating traffic and engagement to your GMB profile. And if you actually right click and highlight those and scrape them essentially and put them into a keyword file that then you start targeting in GMB posts on a regularly basis, including near me terms, you'll start getting even more exposure for those same terms. It's crazy. So
yeah, they become the source for the post. And yeah, this is I don't know how many pages deep. I forgot how many it was, but there's a whole lot more than just 10 keywords that are bringing results for the GMB. But what I want people to know is, for example, on that taxi service that we did, it ranked for the word taxi. So anyone in proximity of that service who typed in taxi was getting him. Guys, this is the power that's in your hands. We're talking about 1 word, 2 word, 3 word terms, and I think we have a 4 word term in there, but they're all big money terms. Google tells you this is what's bringing you your money so that you can make more money. How the fuck can it get any better than that?
So guys, I think we've shared enough results. We're going to get right into the offer because we're almost at the hour mark. We did want to spend a couple of minutes answering questions if there are questions. I know Peter said he's got something he wants to announce. So here's the offer. Again, not a hard pitch, guys. We went through the training. We showed results. Now it's up to you. If you want to make the, learn these processes and implement them into your own lead generation or client work business, or even into your own business. If you own your own business and you're just trying to get better results, this is the offer. Go to local GMB Pro, go to semanticmastery.com/Peter. You'll see that that's the full price sales page. It's $1,000 product. We're giving a $300 off coupon for Peter's audience tonight with the coupon code GMB Insider Special. And again, that's the 30% off. And typically we only do that for our mastermind members who are, pay us $300 a month to be in the mastermind. So it's very rare that we ever give this kind of a discount for one of our, flagship products. But we wanted to do that for Peter because, we've been longtime friends and, we've always worked really well with Peter. So guys, again, that's semanticmastery.com/Peter. GMB Insider Special is your coupon code at checkout. Use that and it will take $300 off. It gives you access to the training, the case studies, the webinars, and a Facebook group that's where a lot of the updates and all the stuff like that, like constant discussions, things that are occurring right now with Google My Business, all of that is covered in the actual Facebook group. There are sometimes we do update webinars that will, for specific things and stuff like that. So again, it's very important to be a part of the group. If you're going to get the most out of it if you come to the group and engage in the group. Just keep that in mind. A Semantic Mastery bonus. Just contact support@semanticmastery.com after purchase to redeem your additional bonuses or the SEO battle plan. It's an inexpensive PDF that we created with our exact processes in step-by-step fashion for how to get results. And we call it the SEO battle plan. And it's not, we tell you the exact same processes we use for all the projects that we work on, whether they're local, regional, national, global, it doesn't matter, affiliate, doesn't matter what type of projects they are. It's the methods that we use, my partners and I, to get results time and time again. It's basically a step-by-step checklist, and it points you to resources for done-for-you services so that you don't have to go learn how to do all of this stuff. You can if you want. We'll point you to our our training products so you can learn all this stuff. But honest to God, if you're just trying to make money, just make sure, just mark up, find providers and mark it up, do a 200% markup, and you can go out and make money that way and get results. And that's what's beautiful about the battle plan is it's literally step-by-step. If you follow the process and you don't take shortcuts, you'll get results. So again, that's our bonus for you guys today, including the additional bonuses along with the SEO battle plan is what we call an arbitrage calculator. It can help you how to price services when you're doing client work. The YouTube Silo Academy, if you guys don't know how to silo YouTube channels, I know Peter's got a lot of really great tools like Live Rank Sniper. I mean, I've used a ton of Peter's YouTube tools over the years. And if you know how to silo YouTube channels using playlists, it's incredibly powerful. So YouTube Silo Academy is included. The advanced RSS strategies. RSS is still a powerful strategy if you know how to use them correctly. Team building training. We talked about outsourcing. So it's very important that you understand how to build your own team of virtual assistants, local case study, and POFU live event recordings. That's our live event. We did one last year. We've got another one coming up in October. And there's actually some, not all, but some of the event recordings from last year available in the members area for the bonus. So with that, what do you got, Peter?
Okay. Well, first of all, I'd just like to say thanks for this awesome webinar, guys. I got so much information out of it myself, which was kind of unexpected considering I've already gone through your material. Now onto my bloody new bonus. So we come up with so much software. It's really hard to come up with names. So I came up with the extraordinary name, Google Indexer Software. So that's a really lame name. But what it does is this. You enter in a bunch of keywords, but the main thing is you enter links. So these can be links from your GMBs. They can be links from anywhere or any part of this process. Run it through the software and you enter a Google account. And what it does is it goes out and it creates a Google site and displays your content and your article content and the links, and it uses spin tags in the article, so obviously you can create more than one at a time. And what it then does, once the Google site is created, it goes to Webmaster Tools, adds that site to Google to your Google Webmaster. Then it requests indexing, which is amazing. And generally within an hour, that Google site will be indexed. But that's just for the basic software. Then there's three softwares. There's the basic software, the agency, and the one-time and the one-time payment, or lifetime, as they used to say. So what you guys will be getting is the lifetime version of the software that allows you to enter as many Google accounts as you like, and it will create one Google site per Google account you enter in the software. So it creates the first site, then it creates a second, which links back to the first, ad infinitum. So you get the idea. All these Google sites linked together and indexed. And there's a new special feature coming out where we will have an option where if you choose by clicking on a button, your links will be displayed on other members' Google sites. So we're going to be have the ability to generate a lot of links from Google entities that are indexed fast. So nice. as my bonus for people who jump on this right now, contact my support. Everyone knows what. Talk to Colt at support.hangoutmillionaire.com with your transaction ID, and you'll get the lifetime license for this software. I don't even know what the price is because I haven't released it yet, but it's epic software.
Beautiful. And so, guys, just wanted to talk. Thank you for that, Peter. And again, these are some available tools and services that could help you if needed. A lot of Peter's tools are actually they're great because they're Google ecosystem tools, and that's part of the reason that I've always been a really big fan of his tools. We do have a GMB auto poster for once you learn how to silo posts and things like that, guys. The easiest thing to do is just schedule the posts out using a post scheduler. We've got one that's very inexpensive. That's something I asked Peter about if he had earlier, and he said, no, not yet. But that's something, Peter, you probably should develop, by the way. And siloing the posts. And again, I recommend guys don't even have to do this because you can train a VA to do it. In fact, we've got training for VAs on how to do that kind of stuff. And then we also have our store at mgyb.co for available additional traditional SEO stuff if you need it. Some GMBs if you're in a really competitive area, sometimes you're going to need to implement traditional SEO stuff too to get the results quickly. And so we do have processes that we've developed specifically for done-for-you services so that you guys don't have to learn how to do it and all that. And that's at mgyb.co. Here was just some examples of that stuff. But again, that's first and foremost, get to training and really learn the concepts. The SEO battle plan lays out a lot of additional steps on how you can get results outside of just the GMB ecosystem. And again, that'll point you to those resources when necessary. But just go to semanticmastery.com/Peter, coupon code GMB Insider Specials, $300 off. And then contact us, support@semanticmastery.com after purchase, and request your bonus, which is the SEO battle plan, along with all the other bonuses, and we'll give that to you. With that, let's go ahead and see if there are any questions. Hopefully this app, I don't know if we got any questions or not because it's not showing a damn thing for me. Unbelievable. I'm not sure, guys, if this is gonna it looks like we don't. Let's see, let's go to the YouTube channel and see if we got any over there. Unfortunately, we had this Google took away the Google events pages, live events pages, or the Google Plus event pages, which is what we always used in the past. And I'm not seeing any. We didn't even have chat available for this. So, okay. All right. Well, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us specifically, guys, at support@semanticmastery.com. Or you can go to our free Facebook group, which is SEO tutorials and case studies with Semantic Mastery, and ask questions over there. We're going to keep this offer open for Peter's audience only for the next, I don't know how long. Adam's the one that decides those things. So I probably a week or something like that. Peter, how long do you want to keep it open?
Yeah, I think a week's good, mate.
All right. Then
I think if since people haven't been able to ask questions, give them time to ask questions, right? They can also go to Hump Day Hangouts.
Yeah, and that's
They
next
can
Wednesday.
just look, but that's next Wednesday. But I mean, we're there. Just ask us, and we'll answer. We'll happily answer whatever you have.
Yeah. And like I said, if you have any questions specifically that you want answered before that, just go to our free Facebook group. Just search Facebook for Semantic Mastery. You can join our group and just ask our questions over there. We'll answer them as we can over there. And obviously support at semanticmastery.com too, because again, I'm not sure why this app wasn't working. Apologize for that, but we will definitely answer your questions if you have any about that. We'd love to have you in the group and take advantage of Peter's bonuses as well. So
I want the bonus, man.
I'm sure we can arrange something, Marco. Done.
all right, well, look,
thanks,
that's
guys.
good timing. I just ran out of beer.
Bloody beautiful. Okay, thanks, guys. I really appreciate you taking the time out to do this for all of us, and I'm sure our people will love this information. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter, for having us.
All right, man. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Thanks, guys.